Hello, and welcome to Battle of the Beast Insect / Arachnids Only Edition, episode number 7. I'm Adam, and today we got the final battle of round 1. So far in this tournament, we've had 6 battles of round 1, where all of the winners of that battle killed their opponents in a very brutal way. So, I don't know if this is foreshadowing for the rest of the series, but only one of these beasts are not going to die in a brutal way, by the looks of it. But, let's introduce which beasts are fighting in this battle, and then introduce the beast which is skipping round 1. So with that, let's introduce them. Representing Series 6, the first opponent is Vespick the Wasp Queen. Versus her opponent, being the other special in this tournament, Creta the Winged Terror. So yeah, Vespick and Creta, the last battle of round 1. And actually, the one which I've been looking forward to the most, because it was I love both of these beasts. But one of them is going to die in round 1. Okay, yeah, okay, it was bound to happen at one point. But okay. I'm glad this battle actually came up. This is probably my favourite battle of this tournament so far, and probably will be. But by process elimination, that means the beast that skipped round 1 is Larnak the Swarming Menace. So we'll add you to the pile of beasts that are through to round 1, and I'll talk about you in a summary. But right now, Vespick versus Creta. We need to get some information about these beasts before we make any rash decisions on who's going to win. But with that, let's get to the stats. Starting with Vespick the Wasp Queen. Okay, so Vespick the Wasp Queen. Vespick's armoured-plated body is twice as tall as a man's, and her wings give her terrifying speed and agility. She is armed with 6 brutal hooked claws and a stinger which oozes a deadly green venom. One drop would instantly kill her prey. Worst of all, Vespick has an army of wasps at her command. They swarm around her victims, weakening them with excruciating stings. Age 285, power 253, magic level 173, fright factor 83, size 127. And powers and abilities: insect manipulation, hundreds of thousands of wasps might I add, skilled fighter, flight and deflection. When she's flying, her wings can deflect any arrows or something that's come towards her. Venom manipulation, natural armor, and natural weaponry. Minions are the wasps, which I already said. Weaknesses are water and wing removal. Moving on to Creta. Creta the Winged Terror. This beast is made of countless flying insects forming a column, which then sprouts arms and wings. Creta has terrifying fangs and 2 mighty horns. Age 227, power 281, fright magic level 170, fright factor 90, size 290. Powers and abilities: stabia physiology, deformation and reformation, flight, fire, heat and lava resistance, enhanced durability, absorption, natural weaponry. Minions are the stabias, and weaknesses is water weakness. So with that, that's all we need to know regarding these 2 beasts, and let's cut back to me. So with that, we're now at this battle, Vespick versus Creta. Honestly, this might be a really good battle. So, battlefield, I'm gonna be a bit boring and go with a no. Actually, I'm gonna go with the cave arena. So the cave arena is from episode 1 of Battle of the Beast and episode 4. Yeah, episode 1 and episode 4 of Battle of the Beasts, Insects and Arachnids Only generation. Well, tournament. So yeah, so with that, it's going to be a case of that luscious cave with stalactites coming from the roof. It's entirely surrounded with nooks and crannies for beasts to get into, hide, and all that. We also got a luscious green ground with nice flowing grass, trees, and a river flowing through it. So that, let's get into the fight. As both beasts exit from their chambers, Vespick immediately pounces out of it, lands on the grass, screeches into the arena as her millions of wasps shroud her side of the arena. Spectators are looking through one side of glass and just sees people on her side, just seeing that wasps are covering up the entire window, in which they repel back in a bit of disgust, but they stay silent so they can't be seen very well. On the other side, though, you feel a rumbling coming from there, and then suddenly a storm of Stabias fly out, creating a Stabia-like tornado, and out forms Creta in all her glory, in which she screeches into the arena, roaring at her might I add, and roaring at her might, the showing the fierceness of this beast. Creta, Vespick, unafraid of Creta's roaring, summons her wasps and pulls her arm down as the wasps suddenly appear from the wall and charges straight towards Creta. Creta goes into a swarm mode and charges up towards the swarm. As they both engage in a fight, Vespick lunges in and slashes at any Stabia she can reach, trying to attack each of them as the Stabias are attacking her and her minions. Realizing that she's outmatched, she takes a step back and just watches the fight of Stabia versus Wasp engage. Eventually, Creta forms into a giant form again, piling herself over the river, be careful not to touch it, and just bites down, slashes at the wasps, killing them ever so slowly, but eventually doing so. Vespick then lunges down from the ceiling and kicks Creta's head, knocking her head clean off as it falls to the ground. Most of it hitting the river. Vespick then comes back up, uppercuts through the body of Creta, causing more Stabias to fall into the river. Creta's roaring in pain over this and looks up to see Vespick coming down again, in which Creta takes the sky and then shoots some Stabias up to grab Vespick by the leg. They pull Vespick down to eye level of the beast known as Creta, as Vespick's hanging there helplessly as she coils herself up to slash at the claw to free herself. Vespick then goes up to sting Creta, but it goes right through her. Vespick launches back, trying to figure out how to attack this beast. She's killed some Stabias, but not enough. Creta takes up to the sky as well and charges herself directly towards Vespick, shrouding Vespick in the Stabias. Her remaining wasps come up to help her, but they're not strong enough to go through the army of Stabias which are surrounding Vespick. Vespick tries her best to fight them off, but the Stabias are just shrouding Vespick, and as they are slowly biting off her wings. Vespick is screeching in pain over this, trying to attack, but the Stabias are going into her mouth and starts making their way around her body, as Vespick can feel the Stabias underneath her flesh, just biting down on top of her. Eventually, the main swarm dispersed, seeing Vespick come down to the ground, rolling around in the grass, struggling, trying to get her out, trying to get the Stabias out. Vespick looks over to the river, and knowing what she has to do, she takes in a big breath of realizing that she's about to do something very stupid, dips her claw into the river as she feels pain from the water on her, just pushing her body, showing just how fragile she is when it comes to water. She feels the Stabias in her hand stop moving. She realizes that she needs to injure herself just to get the Stabias out. However, Vespick wasn't born yesterday. She's fully aware that if she goes into that water to wash out the Stabias, she will not only take a lot of damage, but Creta will not hesitate to come back down on top of her to pin her down to the water and drown her. Vespick decides that she'll need to bear with the pain, stares up at the swarm of Creta as Creta lunges down towards Vespick, pinning her down to the ground, and Creta says in a hissing, bug-like manner, saying, "You are not as dumb as I thought you would be. Every previous opponent I went against was stupid enough to doubt they would have gone in that water, but not you. It's almost like you know that you would die as well. Well, if you're not going to go into the water, I will force you to." Creta then wraps one of her giant claws around Vespick, hoisting her up, apprehending Vespick so she can't get away as she's trying to struggle free. And Creta just forces more Stabias inside of Vespick, causing more discomfort for this queen of the wasps. Her minions try to help her, but they're just swatted away by Creta very easily. Creta then says, "You are never any match for me," as she hoists Vespick up and plunges her into the river. You can hear Vespick screeching through the water as the Stabias around Vespick starts to die, but that are wrapped around her, but also still pinning her down, so still alive. The ones that aren't in the water, but I was pin her down. But the Stabias inside of Vespick are also dying, but Vespick is just drowning as she's screeching, trying to get out of the water. She's leaning her body forward, but Creta's pinning her whole body down, her head down as well. Vespick's struggling, trying to scratch at Creta, trying to get free, but it's not working because there's more Stabias pinning her down. Vespick eventually is gradually, her attempts to get free are getting weaker and weaker. Eventually, Vespick just succumbs to the lack of oxygen that she's facing, and her body just relaxes. Her hand out, her claws trying to scratch through just fall down. Her one arm submerged completely in the water, including her hand, whilst the other arm is resting to the outside of the water, where her claw is sticking out in an open hand defeat, showing death. Creta withdraws herself from the river, evaluating how many Stabias she's lost. She's lost 30,000 in this fight, but not thinking there's too much of a loss, she makes her way back to her chamber, knowing she'll have them back for her next battle. So with that, it pains me to say this, but my girl Vespick has lost and Creta has won. You think Vespick should win? Please comment below. I think that. However, my word's fine on Creta, moving on to the next round. Now, it's the same situation that Skuric had against Solix. There's just too many of them. Like, Vespick can do what she can to attack Creta, but the thing is, though, there's just too many Stabias for Vespick to actually take down. So, as much as I love Vespick, her minions won't be able to do much because Stabias outrank Wasps with power. And then you got Vespick, which can do some damage, but then, like, there's millions of Stabias which make Creta. And I don't think Vespick could take down them all. And for that, Vespick lost. So, yeah. So I did say this in a call that I was having with Lucas and Jack regarding this tournament. Jack has no idea about the matchups, by the way. But I did tell Jack that I would let everyone know which beast Lucas was rooting for when/if it died. Same with the one which I do have a bit of bias towards and think that they would, which I thought would do well. Think would do well. And yeah, for both of us, Vespick is out. Yeah. So he roots for Vespick. I said that I'll let everyone know which beast I thought was going to do well is eliminated, and now it's Vespick as well. So yeah, Vespick's out. So yeah, a bit upsetting, really. But yeah, Creta's moving on to round 2. I'll get the summary video recorded and released on the same day as this fight's released. So with that, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell down in the corner below, and I'll see you next time.